Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mother Mary's monthly message for the Lionsgate 8/8 of 2023. My name's Samara Grace, and as many of you know, I've been channeling Mother Mary for over 20 years now, and it's just been an incredibly powerful, wonderful journey because she's all about love. She's all about how do we maintain a heart of love in a world where that is not always welcome and not always applauded. So in just a moment, I'm going to bring her through. You're welcome to share that recording with anyone that you think would be interested. I also do private sessions for those of you that want to have a little chat with Mother Mary. And I also teach a new form of Reiki called White Star Reiki. And if you'd like to know more about that, you can see my website, which is www.samaragrace.com. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Pull up an easy chair, get your favorite beverage, and let's take a little journey into the heart of love with Mother Mary. Well, first of all, my beloveds, I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for showing up in this way at this time, whether you're watching it on 8/8 or at another time. Because if you're showing up, it means that you're aware of a couple of things. You're aware that you came to share your light and your gifts in that light. You're also aware that there are lots of other people who are also on that kind of path, and that sometimes it's really nice to join with them and to feel the celebration of that community. And thirdly, you're probably aware that there's a disparity between how you like to operate and how some of the rest of the world likes to operate. And so here on 8/8, I kind of want to talk about how to navigate your consciousness in a world where there is disparity in consciousness. So in other words, think of it this way. If all over the world, all over the universe, everyone woke up and said, you know what? Let's create clean water. Let's create clean air. Let's have a thriving economy for everyone. Let's share. Let's devote ourselves to community and caring and all that. Now, I know I'm sort of preaching to the choir because all of you already sort of have that as your modus operandi, your way of being, but much of the world does not. And so in this understanding, take a look for just a second and think about how do you navigate in a world that is not yet prepared for that sort of consciousness. So here's what I want to say. The first and most important thing is for you to be true to your own heart and your own guidance, and to stay connected with whether it's me or God or archangels or Kuan Yin or some other way that you like to connect. That connection continues to feed and nurture all through your soul's path, your soul's destiny. And so you sort of know, I'm here to make a difference. I'm here to make a difference. And so if you're doing that, what you're doing is you're getting the most important energy that you need in order to navigate where the world is not yet doing that connecting. So whatever path you're choosing, whether it's meditation, nature, Reiki, all the other wonderful energy work like EMF balancing and all of that, whatever that would be, if you're filling yourself with that frequency, you've got the fuel to then navigate the rest of the world. And if you don't, it's very difficult. It's just very difficult because their way of being carries a frequency that is disruptive. What do I mean by that? All you have to do is, and I don't want you to do this, but turn on the news for 5 minutes and all you'll see is disruption, right? Disruption. So if you're walking through a field of disruption and you are not in your happy place, in your wholeness, in your holiness, that disruptive field is going to leave you fatigued, upset, sad, outraged, any other emotion like that, because you have not yet developed enough, shall we say, spiritual stamina to encounter that. So the spiritual stamina is how you connect above and below with Mother Gaia, with the earth, with walking flowers, nature, etc., etc. When you have that, now when you're encountering other situations and people that are, shall we say, less coherent, meaning more disruptive, you will not be disrupted. You may be saddened, you may be worried, you may be upset in a little bit of a way, but you can navigate it. It's like being the captain of a wonderful ship. If a storm comes and you're like, oh no, I don't know what to do, chances are that ship's not going to do very well. So that is really the first step. The second part of this is once you have that sort of, that fullness, that wholeness from connecting in your very own way. Now, here's the sort of interesting part. You look out into the world and you see the disparities. You see the homelessness, you see the hunger, you see, the polluted air or water or whatever. But rather than being overwhelmed by it, and here's the second part. First, you have to fill up the tank. The second part is to ask, what is mine to shift? What is mine to shift? You can't all solve all the problems of the world, right? And you can't be overwhelmed by, oh my goodness, should I feed the hungry? Should I do this? Should I do that? Because now, if you're doing that, you're operating only from your human mind. And that means, again, you haven't filled that holy vessel with the light that you need. Because when you realize, all right, I have to fill up the tank. And now it's like, where should I go, right? I've got a full tank, where should I go? You just ask, what is mine? And not only that, what is mine today? What is mine today? And now take a little moment to just be in that energy of like a beautiful mother or a beautiful father who has toys for the children. It's like, what is mine to give or to offer or to do? And let that land for you. And when it does, then go and do it, whatever that happens to be. And I want to just sort of characterize the variety of things that could be. Let's say on a certain day you have to go grocery shopping, right? Not everyone's favorite thing, but it could be. So if what you're feeling is sort of a sadness for all of those who are still hungry, then as you're in the grocery store and you're picking out your food, take a moment and say, let all be fed as I'm feeding myself. Let all be fed as I'm feeding myself. What you're doing is laying out a pattern of energy, much like the figure 8 of 8-8. You need to be fed. We want you to have the food that is appropriate and correct for you. But by having that prayer as you're walking through the aisles of the grocery store, what you're doing is calling upon your higher self and laying down the energy of exchange and sharing and fullness, if you will, as you're walking through the grocery store. Many people talk about what is 3D, 4D, 5D, and beyond, right? And I want to keep it simple and keep in a grocery store analogy, because I want it to be so simple you really get it. So 3D, you're pulling out the broccoli and the cans of food or whatever, and you're putting it in the cart and you've got your list and you're checking it off and getting whatever's on sale or whatever looks good to you. And from a 3D perspective, there's nothing wrong with any of that. But it doesn't really go out as a prayer. It doesn't go out into the field of possibility. So if you do your grocery shopping, but while you're doing it, you're essentially moving into 4D, which is where dreams and miracles and wishes get answered. And you're also possibly moving into 5D, which is where everything is possible and everything is now. There is no past, present, or future. It's now. So there you are grocery shopping. And at the same time, you're calling on all that could occur to feed every being. Now, perhaps when you get to the checkout counter, there's also a collection in which, in that collection, they're collecting cans or whatever for, for everyone to have. So perhaps you see that. And in that process, you think, well, I've got a couple of extra cans of soup or beans and I'll put that in. So you're also sort of concretizing that prayer as well. So all of that happens while you're doing your grocery shopping. Now, when you allow your everyday actions to be a prayer, as I was just illustrating, you are residing not only in your 3D experience, your human experience, you are carrying the Holy Spirit of you and putting that into the field as you're walking through the grocery store. So that's one very, very simple way to do it. Some of you are very concerned about other countries. And there too, it's realizing I need to navigate from 3D, where whatever the difficulty is happening, and move my prayer and my consciousness into 4D, 5D, and perhaps even beyond. Because prayer is an interesting thing. It's an energetic transmission of your higher self into the field, the causal plane, the field of all possibility. And so it can be very, very powerful. So let's say you're still worried about the Ukraine and Russia challenge that's going on right now. And never mind any political aspect of it, just people are being murdered and killed. Just think of that, okay? In your prayer, you take a look at first the bad news, if you will, the scenery. And then you take your heart and your mind and you just really send it out through your third eye, through your crown, and 4D, 5D, etc. And you basically say, let there be peace. Let them see each other as brothers and sisters. Let them see each other not as enemies, but as people residing on the earth. And so here too, every light worker on the planet right now is a prayer warrior, if you will. But we don't want wars with bombs and hitting each other and all that. But a warrior in the sense of what you stand for. And so when you see these difficulties, you see these conflicts, you can shift it through your consciousness and your ability to send that energy to the outcome that would be obviously much, much more desirable. So that's good. So many of you have a feeling of a mission, and I know my friend Richard really does. And so you wonder sometimes, why would I have such a passion for this mission and yet not so far be able to see it come to fruition? And the difficult answer is that the environment and the consciousness in the rest of the world has not yet allowed that to manifest. And it saddens me. It saddens me because it could. But what does it take? It takes all of you and all the hundreds of thousands and millions, perhaps, of light workers to realize if you are dismayed by something, you have joined with it. I want you to really hear that. If you are dismayed by something, you have joined with it. And therefore, you are not allowing the transformation or the transmutation of that. So if you begin to feel dismayed, which is a very human response, especially when there's this much chaos and suffering, you have to stop immediately, because your dismay only adds to what you don't want to see. And so it's a mirror that you have to change so that the image changes as well. So if you think about it this way, don't be dismayed. Bring your power, your authority, your energy, your good wishes, your capacity to see a different outcome and transmit that. Because you will see what you say. You will see what you believe. You will see what you allow yourself to see. And so that's why it's so important, if you begin to feel dismayed, angered, upset, again, it's a natural human endocrine system response. So don't beat yourself up about it, but take charge. People talk about empowerment. I'm honestly very tired of hearing that word. I really am. Because what are you waiting for? You know, like a gold star and a crown? I don't know. You are all empowered to take the actions that you are guided to take. And the very simple first one you can take is envision what you do want to see. Envision what you do want to see. Then out of that, there is also a path of action that might occur. You might feel you want to volunteer or go to the Red Cross and give them blankets or, you know, whatever that would be. And that again is beautiful and often very, very loving to do. But don't do it from dismay. Do it from love. Do it from love. And if you're doing it from love, what does that really mean? It means you see and believe in the capacity for change. So it is not a denial of what you're seeing that you don't want to see. It's not a denial of that. But what it is you're bringing your power of authority, your love, your vision to offer a different perspective. And the energy is your energy. It's like, I don't know why so many of you are waiting for some, as I said, a badge and a crown, you know. I'll tell you right now, you are all anointed and appointed, period. You can say, Mother Mary said, I'm anointed and appointed to be an emissary of light, period. You are, boom, 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 so it is. So again, what does that mean? It means that you operate in the world as a fountain of love. Does it mean that you don't have disagreements? Does it mean you don't get angry? No, it just means that as much as you can, you come back to the sanctity and the sovereignty of who you really are, which is a being of light on a journey of love. So when will the world change? You know, I know all of you wish like, okay, you know, when are we going to get beautiful centers and lots of food for the hungry and all of that. The consciousness of the world is fragile, It's built on survival. You are not built in that way, not that you don't want to survive, but that you know truly the physics of spirituality, which is that you can manifest what is yours to manifest. And it doesn't always land in the time frame that you want, but that doesn't mean that it's your fault. It doesn't mean that you haven't been diligent or tried as hard as possible. What it means is that not enough people have focused on the vision that you are carrying. And when they do, that's when change occurs. I want to give you just a couple of moments of hope here to go along with everything else. Some years ago, if you went into a hospital to have a child, and some of you are old enough to remember this, you would often stay for 5 days. You would often have anesthetic to put you completely out. And then when you woke up, they would just hand you your baby. And that was true for Samara. And natural childbirth, when Samara asked her doctor about that, he said, "What are you, a peasant? Only peasants do that." Well, that wasn't that long ago. So how did it change? Enough people began to feel like that wasn't the way birth was meant to be. It was meant to be natural. It was meant to have your spouse and other people around supporting you. It was meant to be something to be celebrated, not confined in a very sterile room. So it takes people carrying a new vision. And so tonight, before we end our recording, I want to just encourage each of you to begin to see through all of your eyes, your third eye and these eyes as well, a world that really carries the promise you all came to fulfill, which is basically a world of love, a world of compassion, a world of love. And so what I'm going to do in this moment on this recording is transmit the highest loving energy that I can to each of you. So I just, whether you're on the call right now or later, I just invite you to put your hands on your heart. And I invite you to feel my hand on your heart, saying, I love you. I thank you. You are each extraordinary. You are each empowered. You are each beautiful, divine, holy, and human. And whatever efforts you are making, they are extraordinarily appreciated. And so I want you to feel my love, because it is also your love. This is what you bring with your hands, with your heart, with your mind, with your intention. And I love you all very, very much. So today I will end the recording for now on the Lion's Gate, wishing all of you to be change makers. Don't be afraid. This is your time. Much love. Namaste.